You are not the architect of your first draft. Before you had a name, before you possessed the language to describe your own hunger or your own joy, the world began sketching a map for you. Your parents, your ancestors, the silent pressures of your culture, and the jagged edges of your early heartbreaks, they all took up the pen. They drew borders where there should have been horizons. They wrote danger over the places where you were meant to explore. They whispered not enough into the soft, unformed clay of your identity until it hardened into stone. You have lived inside this architecture for decades, mistaking the walls for the limits of the universe. You call these walls your personality. You call these limits the way things are. But today, we begin the quiet, monumental work of demolition. We are here to talk about the rewiring of the soul. To change your life, you must first acknowledge that your conscious mind is merely the captain of a very small vessel floating on a vast, dark, and ancient ocean. That ocean is your subconscious. It is the repository of every sight you've ever seen, every word ever leveled against you, and every survival strategy you adopted when you were too small to fight back. Your limiting beliefs are not truths. They are ancient defense mechanisms. They are the scars that think they are still protecting the wound. If you believe you are unworthy of love, it is likely because at some point, being unloved was a safer explanation than being abandoned. If you believe you cannot succeed, it is because your subconscious would rather keep you small and safe than see you large and vulnerable. This is the first principle of self-mastery. Your brain is not designed to make you happy. It is designed to keep you alive. To grow, you must learn to negotiate with your own biology. This negotiation begins with shadow work. The shadow is not the evil part of you. It is simply the rejected part. It is the basement where you stored your anger, your ambition, your wildness, and your sensitivity because you were told they were too much or too little. When you deny these parts of yourself, they do not disappear. They simply go into the dark and pull the levers of your life from behind the curtain. They manifest as self-sabotage. They manifest as the glass ceiling you keep hitting. To rewire a belief, you must first walk into that basement with a lantern. You must look at the part of you that feels broken and ask it, what are you trying to protect me from? When you find the belief, the one that says, I am a failure or I am invisible, do not fight it. If you fight it, it will hide deeper. Instead, witness it. Recognize that this belief was once a shield. Thank it for its service. And then, with the authority of the sovereign self, tell it that its service is no longer required. This is where the neuroplasticity of the spirit begins. The brain is like a forest. If you walk the same path every day, the grass dies and the earth packs down into a hard, easy trail. That is a habit. That is a limiting belief. To create a new belief, you must hack a new path through the undergrowth. The first time is difficult. The second time is exhausting. But eventually, the old path overgrows with weeds, and the new path becomes the way of least resistance. Rewiring requires more than just positive thinking. Affirmations are useless if the body does not believe them. If you say, I am wealthy, while your nervous system is screaming in poverty-stricken terror, the subconscious will reject the lie. You must bridge the gap through somatic experience. You must find the feeling of the new belief in your chest, in your gut, in the way you hold your shoulders. You must teach your nervous system what safety feels like before you can teach your mind what success looks like. Every morning and every night, when the veil between the conscious and subconscious is thinnest, you must plant the seeds. Visualization is not a daydream. It is a rehearsal. When you visualize your expansion, your brain cannot distinguish between the mental image and the physical reality. You are literally building the neural pathways of a version of yourself that hasn't happened yet. You are becoming a memory of your own future. But be warned, the ego will resist. As you begin to change, the old self will feel like it is dying. You will experience a profound sense of the void, the space between who you were and who you are becoming. This is the most dangerous part of the journey. This is where most people turn back, because the familiar cage feels safer than the unknown sky. Self-mastery is the ability to sit in that void without flinching. It is the discipline to observe the old thoughts without identifying with them. When the voice in your head says, "You're going to fail," you must learn to respond with, "That is an interesting thought. It belongs to a version of me that no longer exists." You are not your thoughts. You are the one who hears them. You are the sky. The thoughts are just the weather. As you rewire, the world around you will begin to shift. Not because of magic, but because of perception. When you change the lens, the light hits the room differently. You will start to see opportunities where you once saw dead ends. You will attract people who reflect your new frequency rather than your old wounds. You will find that you no longer have to try to be confident or try to be peaceful. You simply are, because the internal resistance has been dissolved. This is the work of a lifetime, but it happens in a series of moments. It happens every time you catch a self-limiting thought and choose not to board the train. It happens every time you choose curiosity over judgment. It happens every time you act as the person you intend to be, rather than the person you were told you were. You are the master of the pen now. The map is in your hands. The ink is still wet. Look at the borders they drew for you and realize they were only suggestions. Look at the labels they gave you and realize they were only nicknames. You are the vastness. Breathe into the space where the old limits used to live. Feel the expansion. The rewiring is not about becoming someone new. It is about unlearning everything that prevented you from being who you already are. It is a homecoming. Welcome back to yourself. The world has been waiting for the real you to arrive.